First of all, take the opportunity to subscribe to the channel and activate notifications so you don't miss any content that will transform your mindset and help you be unstoppable every day. Now, I propose a simple action stand-up and think of one small action you can take today, even if it's only for 5 minutes. Ready? Let's see how this simple action can change everything. Motivation isn't that feeling that suddenly appears when you're excited or disappears on days when you wake up feeling lazy. Rather, it's a habit, a daily practice that you must cultivate, regardless of your mood or circumstances. It's like brushing your teeth. You don't wait until you feel like it, you just do it. Motivation follows the same logic. When you understand that motivation builds day after day, the power shifts. You stop waiting for the magic moment and start taking consistent action. The secret is to make motivation a routine, something so natural that it doesn't even require conscious effort. This creates a success mindset where action is a rule, not the exception. If motivation depended on your mood, imagine how easy it would be to give up at the slightest obstacle. But those who truly progress know that true motivation comes from commitment to yourself, a daily pact to do what needs to be done, even when you don't feel like it. And that's what makes the difference in true progress. If you still think motivation is just a feeling, start your day with a simple habit, like reading an inspiring book for 5 minutes, such as Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. This activates your brain and puts it into action mode without relying on fleeting emotions. It's a practical way to demonstrate that motivation is built, not waited for. And before you move on to the next step, remember this notion of habit motivates you to persevere, even on days when enthusiasm seems to wane. After all, habits don't ask for permission, they form naturally. Are you ready to integrate motivation into your daily routine? Have you noticed how many people wait for a spark of motivation to get started? The problem is, it rarely happens. True motivation comes from action. It's by moving your body and mind that true enthusiasm emerges. Imagine a snowball. It only gets bigger as it rolls. Instead of waiting until you feel ready, start small. It can be a simple task that doesn't require much effort, but gives you a boost. For example, if you want to study a new topic, read a page, or watch a short video, this creates a vicious cycle that boosts your mood and gives you the energy to continue. Science also shows that the brain releases dopamine, the pleasure neurotransmitter, when we begin to act, increasing our motivation to continue. In other words, action fuels motivation. Understanding this, we realize that there's no need to wait for the right moment. It's the action itself that creates it. Moreover, taking action brings progress, even if it's small, and it's this progress that keeps you motivated. Every step, no matter how small, sends a clear signal to your mind that you're making progress, which strengthens your self-confidence and discipline. The initial laziness then gives way to a sense of accomplishment. So never underestimate the power of small, everyday actions. They have a cumulative effect, adding up to great results over time. The key is to get started, even if you don't feel motivated. Taking action is a key to a success-oriented mindset and continuous growth. Have you ever wondered why some people manage to stay strong even when everything seems against them? The answer lies in their purpose. Having a clear and powerful goal is like having an inexhaustible source of energy, something that propels you forward, even in the most difficult times. Purpose is the why behind your actions. When it's strong, the how and when become less of an issue. For example, an athlete who wants to win a world medal doesn't give up simply because of fatigue. The dream and the passion are stronger than fatigue. This mindset reinforces the discipline and perseverance necessary for success. But be careful, purpose isn't just about making money or achieving social status. Those are just consequences. Purpose is impact, the legacy you want to leave, the change you want to bring about in the world and in your own life. By aligning your habits and actions with that purpose, motivation stays alive naturally and sustainably. If you don't yet have a clearly defined goal, stop and think what really motivates you. What is the cause that inspires you? It could be family, health, helping others, or fulfilling a long-held dream. It's essential to clearly define it to prevent your motivation from fading over time. Finally, remember that your goal is the anchor that keeps your mind focused and your energy directed. Once you have clarity, your personal philosophy strengthens, and you create a system of personal accountability, making you invincible in the face of challenges. Have you ever noticed how much your environment can influence your mood? In fact, your environment, whether physical or social, plays a fundamental role in your daily motivation. Being surrounded by negative, complaining, or unambitious people can leave you feeling drained and make you lose faith in your own dreams. On the other hand, when you spend time in a social circle that inspires you to grow, that values learning and discipline, your mindset begins to naturally transform. This positive social influence strengthens your motivation and creates an environment conducive to progress. Additionally, taking care of your physical environment is essential. An organized, clean, and pleasant space stimulates concentration, avoids distractions, and increases your energy. Small changes, such as a reading or study corner, may seem trivial, but they make a big difference in your daily life. Jim Rohn once said that you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with, and it's no wonder. Carefully choosing your social circle is an act of discipline that reinforces your personal purpose and philosophy. If you haven't already, now's the time to take stock who motivates you, who holds you back. Remember, your motivation is directly related to what you allow into your life, mind, and heart. Creating an environment and social circle that supports your journey is a fundamental step toward becoming unbeatable. Discipline is a secret ingredient that turns desire into reality. While motivation may fluctuate, discipline is constant. It's what keeps you going when the urge to give up hits. Think of it as a solid bridge connecting your current situation to the success you desire. Being disciplined doesn't mean being rigid all the time, but rather creating a system of habits that works even when motivation wanes. For example, setting fixed schedules for your activities, maintaining a healthy routine, and committing to small daily actions that bring you closer to your goal. Additionally, discipline builds your self-confidence because every commitment you make to yourself helps you develop a winning mindset. It's like a muscle that needs exercise to grow, and even better, it feeds off your progress. When you understand that success is a result of a personal philosophy, where today's difficult decisions lead to an easy life tomorrow, it becomes easier to choose the path of discipline. And this is precisely what separates those who give up at the first obstacle from those who relentlessly persevere. Ultimately, discipline is what keeps the system running, even on days when motivation seems to falter. It's what reinforces your habit more than any excuse and pushes you to turn small actions into big results. You know the saying, slow and steady wins? Well, that's the essence of the power of small daily habits. We often underestimate the impact of small, repeated actions, but it's precisely this consistency that creates lasting, transformative changes in your life. Start with something simple. Organize your schedule the night before, exercise for 15 minutes, or take the time to read something eye-opening. These small habits, added together, create a cumulative effect that strengthens your discipline and gives you the energy to keep going. The secret isn't to change everything at once, but to integrate one action at a time until it becomes routine. It's like building a staircase. One step after another leads you to places that seem inaccessible at first, but which, over time, become accessible. Additionally, these habits strengthen your motivation and purpose as you see consistent progress. Small daily victories build your self-confidence and motivate you to continue investing in yourself, creating a virtuous cycle of continuous growth. So, don't underestimate the small actions you take today. They may seem insignificant, but they're what will make you invincible later. The important thing is to stay focused and persistent day after day. Have you ever noticed how tracking your progress can be a great source of motivation? By measuring your progress, even the smallest ones, you generate positive feedback that reinforces your commitment and keeps you focused on success. Keeping a journal of your accomplishments, writing down your goals, and regularly evaluating your performance helps you identify what's working and what needs improvement. This clarity makes the process less frustrating and more aligned with your actual goals. Celebrating every victory, no matter how small, is a powerful act. It builds self-confidence and stimulates the release of dopamine in the brain, reinforcing the sense of pleasure and satisfaction that motivates perseverance. Additionally, measuring progress helps avoid the sense of stagnation that often discourages many people. We often tend to think, "I'm not making progress." But by recording our actions and results, we realize that we're building a solid path, step by step. So, make it a habit to track and celebrate your progress. It's part of the discipline, perseverance, and mindset needed to be invincible. Every step counts, and recognizing it is essential to maintaining motivation. Keeping your promises is one of the most effective ways to build self-confidence. Every time you follow through on a commitment, no matter how small, you show your mind that you can trust yourself, and that trust directly fuels your motivation. We tend to think that self-confidence is natural or that it appears out of nowhere, but it is actually built through concrete and consistent actions. For example, if you promise to get up early to study, exercise, or read, and you keep your promise, you strengthen your belief in your potential. This mindset of personal responsibility also creates a life philosophy in which you are responsible for your success. This avoids the trap of waiting for ideal external conditions or fleeting motivation to act. Additionally, self-confidence helps you cope better with challenges and setbacks because you know you can overcome them and rise again and again. It is this inner certainty that fuels long-term motivation. Finally, cultivating self-confidence requires daily practice and patience. Don't beat yourself up if you make a mistake, but use every success to strengthen yourself and move forward. This way, motivation stops being a passing sensation and becomes an integral part of your identity. No one succeeds without facing failure. It's an inevitable part of the journey. The difference lies in how we view these moments as punishment or as an opportunity to learn and grow. Changing this mindset is essential to maintaining motivation. Every mistake, every fall, brings valuable lessons that strengthen your discipline and broaden your mindset. Great figures throughout history have shown that failure is not the end, but rather the beginning of a new cycle where learning becomes the engine of progress. When you understand that failure is part of the process, you stop being afraid of mistakes and begin to act with more courage and confidence. This creates an internal system where perseverance becomes a habit and motivation no longer depends solely on moments of success. It's also important to honestly analyze your mistakes to identify areas for improvement without putting too much pressure on yourself. This builds self-confidence and helps build a personal philosophy focused on continuous growth. Finally, remember failure is not a sign of incapacity, but of growth. Every challenge you overcome shows that you are on the right path to becoming unbeatable. Our mind is like a garden, what we sow grows. Therefore, controlling the type of information we consume is essential to maintaining a healthy mindset and constant motivation. If you burden yourself with bad news, complaints, and limiting thoughts, your progress is likely to stall. Creating a positive mental environment involves consciously choosing the content you watch, read, and listen to. Investing in inspiring books, thought-provoking podcasts, and people who challenge your thinking will help you expand your vision of success and continue your growth. Jim Rohn said that you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. And this also applies to the content you consume daily. Surrounding yourself with positive influences strengthens your habits, discipline, and motivation. Another effective practice is to spend a few minutes each day feeding your mind with motivating ideas, instead of getting lost in distractions or useless information. This can take the form of a quick read, a positive affirmation, or listening to a personal development talk. Ultimately, filtering what enters your mind creates a protective system against discouragement and negativity. With a well-maintained mindset, you'll maintain optimal energy and build a solid path to success. Subscribe to the channel now and turn on notifications so you don't miss any content that will transform your mindset and make you unbeatable. Have you ever felt unmotivated early in the morning? Or found that your desire to conquer the world faded before lunch? The truth is, motivation can't be improvised, it must be cultivated daily, like a powerful habit that makes you invincible. In this video, we'll show you how to turn motivation into a solid habit, driven by discipline, purpose, and small actions that make a difference. If you're tired of bouncing between emotional highs and lows and want to finally take control of your life, follow me to the end. Get ready to discover the habit that can change your trajectory forever and lead you to the success you deserve. Let's embark on this journey together. Now that you know that motivation is a daily habit guided by purpose, discipline, and environment, I invite you to reflect, what will you do today to become that invincible person? What small habit can you adopt right now to transform your routine and your mindset? Remember that success is not a matter of luck, but of choice. Choose to take action. Choose to persevere even when you lack willpower. Choose to build your self-confidence by keeping your commitments. Choose to view failures as stepping stones to growth.